Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Janine. This is Janine Sews, and this is Friday Sews for Friday, November 17th, 2023. This is week 2 of Friday Sews for me, and I'm still trying to get in the swing of things. Today I will follow up on some of the things that I told you I was going to work on last week. I'm going to show you some fabric that I need some ideas for. I will share with you my progress on my toile for my French jacket and tell you a little bit about life, and I'll also answer the question that's posed by Jen from today's Jen Sewing Room, and Jen is the one who created Friday Sews. The top I'm wearing today is the Sew House 7 toaster sweater, and this was made up in French terry that I got at Hobby Lobby. And I can tell you exactly when I made this. I think it was March 10th, 2020. It was the last thing I made before the world changed and it turned upside down, so I do recall making this quite clearly. This is a really nice weight fabric. It's not too heavy. Although I don't know if you can tell, my sewing room faces south and the sun is pouring in. This is a nice weight for kind of a coolish day, but I will tell you, it gets really warm in here in the afternoon, so I'm probably going to be switching to a t-shirt or something fairly quickly. But this has been worn many times, washed dozens of times. Last week, I told you about 2 things I was working on. The first was adding hip protection pads to some of my mom's trousers. I've worked on that. I did up 2 pairs. I'm not sure how they're going to work, so I'm not really going to talk about that much until I know that I have a good solution. But the second thing, and the big thing that I'm working on, my thoughtful and deliberate project, is the French jacket that I'm working on, which is part of a sew-along that we're doing with the Meetup group here in town. And again, my pattern is Vogue 7975. And I'm making one of these 2. The ones without a closure. Not sure what length I'm going to make it. So this week, I've been working on my toile. I do not usually make toiles. I'm kind of a barrel through and see what happens person. But because I want to be more thoughtful and mature in my sewing practice, I decided to do this whole hog. So I went out and I bought muslin, which was very expensive, a lot more than I thought it would be. And somebody said to me, why don't you just use broadcloth? I don't have broadcloth. I don't have a huge stash. So I went out and I bought actual muslin. What I find a little bit confusing is that I've always been told when you create a sample garment, you should use fabric that is of a similar weight and drape. And this is nowhere near the weight and drape of the fabric that I'm going to use, but everybody seems to use this. So I don't understand why. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. Anyway, I measured and cut out the pattern. I cut a size 20 because that corresponded with my measurements. And after I cut out the fabric, I pulled out my tracing wheel and my tracing paper and I marked it. I marked the grain lines and I marked the lengthen, shorten lines. Then after I had done that, I took a trick from one of the Calgary Sews people and I stitched the markings on. I used thread and I stitched them on. And I have to say, I think that's a really good tip because they are so apparent. So all I have done to this point is done the markings and sewn together the sides, the princess seams, and the shoulders. And I put it on Matilda, my friend here. Matilda needs to eat a little bit of chocolate, so she fits. So she's the same size as me, but it's pretty close. And right off the bat, it's tight. It's going to be quite tight. It's just barely going to meet when you add the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. get this in closer. Cut off my head, I'll let you see this. Okay. So you can see these are the grain lines, and this is the length and shorten line. And I've just stitched it together. This is the center fold line here. And as it stands now, this jacket would not meet in the middle. The shoulders are also massive. So I did not put the sleeves on. So the sleeves are too big. And that's as far as I've gotten with this. So tomorrow we have our meetup session, and I'm going to take this with me. Towards the end of the meetup, we're all going to put on our toiles, or everybody who's participating in the sew along is going to put on their toiles, and we're going to help each other with fitting. So I know that next week I will have some changes to this to show you. And then a week from Tuesday, the 28th or 29th, whatever it is, we're having a Zoom meeting so we can follow up and help each other with additional adjustments as needed. Because this is supposed to be done in February, so we've got lots of time, but it's a busy time of year, and people don't necessarily have a ton of free time, evenings and weekends to get stuff done. And if you need to order fabric, then you need time for that too. So that's the progress on my toile for the French jacket sew along. Not much progress, but it's important. And I'll tell you, normally I would have just gone ahead and cut this, and I would have been disappointed. So already it's been a valuable exercise. There is something else I've been working on this week. I'm making a pair of jeans. I'm making the Cashmere Club Creston jeans. And so far so good. I'm going to do a full review of the pattern and post the video next week. So if you're interested, check back on the channel early next week, and I will have a review of them. And there's also something that's going to be offered to people who are viewing that video. So there's your little teaser. Jen from Today and Jen's Sewing Room, who organizes Friday Sews, created it, asked a question this week. What fabric have you enjoyed sewing? I will tell you the fabric that I most enjoy sewing is one that I don't wear, and that is Tana Cotton Lawn. Liberty Tana Cotton Lawn. I've made 2 Liberty shirts, and every time we go to London, I have to pick up a piece of fabric because I love working with it and I love wearing it. It's such beautiful fabric. However, because I haven't fitted things properly, or I haven't taken the time to fit things properly, I have not used up all of my fabric. So this is my very favorite fabric, and I have 2 pieces here. This is what I most like to work with. And eventually, these are kind of spring colors. Eventually, I'll sew these because I just love working with this fabric. It sews up so nicely. It presses beautifully. It stays crisp. When you wear it, it's cool to the touch. It doesn't need a lot of ironing. So that is the fabric I most like working with. I've got a couple of pieces of fabric here that I would like your suggestions and ideas for patterns. First one is this piece of fabric, which is a poly lycra sweater knit. It's very lightweight, not featherweight, but this is fairly lightweight. I have almost 2.5 yards of this. I got this at Fabric Mart last year, 2022, probably September. It's a really bright, colorful winter print. And I want to make something that has some shape. Top, sweater, not a dress. Do you have any ideas for something that's going to have a little bit of shape, that's going to give me a bit of a waist that I could make with this? I kind of have thought about making a sweater set, but then I thought, maybe that's really too old lady. So, ideas for this, please. And then I have 2 pieces of this fabric, and I'm really looking for ideas for gifts actually for my husband for this. This is a viscose waffle knit that I got at our social fabric here in Canada. And you can see this is fairly lightweight. I don't know if you can tell, you can kind of see through it. I thought about making a Henley, but I don't know if this is right for a Henley. So I've got this color, and I also have it in navy. And looking for ideas on this one. This weekend, well, we've got the meetup on Saturday, and our topic is hand stitches. And one of our members who has a lot of experience is going to teach us some hand stitches that can be used either on our French jacket or just for general sewing. I learned how to do, well, it was very hard. I went to a class where they talked about hand basting when I was with ASG in the US. And that information was so helpful because I hadn't really considered that hand basting was something that you would do for a better result. I thought it was just because you didn't want to fire up the machine. But I hand baste now, and it's one of those hand stitches that can make a really big difference in your sewing practice because you can be so much more precise. And I know that what stitches we're going to be taught in the meetup will be equally helpful. I want to get our outdoor Christmas decorations out while the weather is still good. We did have a little bit of snow overnight on Wednesday, but it was just so pretty. I had to fire up the snowblower. It was so pretty because it was a beautiful clear day, and with the sparkling snow, it was just nice. Cold, but not too cold. Got that. And then of course, next week is US Thanksgiving, and I am going to cook a turkey breast. We're gonna have at least one guest over. I don't know if we'll have some more people over. But we're just gonna have a little laid back turkey dinner for Thanksgiving. Watch some football, watch some hockey. I don't really need to be asked twice to make turkey because always love to have turkey around. So that's on Thursday. And then all these other things that I've got to do. And I have to start thinking about Christmas if I'm gonna sew any Christmas gifts. So that's what I have this week for Friday Sews. If you are celebrating Thanksgiving this week, I hope you have a wonderful day, whatever you choose to do. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not going to ask people to subscribe or anything like that. You will watch if you want to watch, but I do appreciate you pressing play. And if you hung in there this far, thank you. So I'll see you on November 20th with my review of the Cashmere Club Creston jeans. And I'll see you next Friday for Friday Sews. Take care.